All right, so what we're going to do this next project is a scribble picture. Now, it doesn't have to be a portrait. It can be something else. And you can check with me and see if it's going to be good or not. You know, you could do an animal. You could do just a regular object. But again, what this is going to be is with a pen. So we have to think about value differently. And so value is the whole idea of things going from pure white to pure black and then in increments. So we have, like, if we divided this in 10 different values, then we have the full range. We have almost pure black to almost pure white. And so when we do this, it's going to be just scribbles, but we still need to have this value. Okay? So I'm going to kind of show you this. It needs to be light and loose, and so more dynamic. I've got some examples on Classroom that you can see a little bit later on. I have another video that you can watch as well. So this goes pretty fast, but what I did was I sketched it out a little bit. So I didn't trust myself completely with just a pen. So I got proportions down. It's not shaded at all. I did kind of map out kind of where the shadow is. So I knew where his cheekbone is, and it's gonna be hard to kind of see up there on the screen, but where his cheekbones are. I'm really looking for 3 planes right here. I've got the plane of his forehead, which is pretty much straight at us, and then this plane back here kind of goes back around the side of his face. I've got a plane right here and a plane right here that's looking pretty flat and perpendicular with us, or parallel with us. And then I've got this cheekbone that kind of goes around his face. So I'm looking for those kind of things. And so I'm kind of drawing as I go along. So I'm just going to get started here. So it's kind of just scribbling and get some basic value down now. So I'm still looking for where the real highlights are going to be. So I've got this highlight right down the corner of his nose. I've got some whites of his eyes that are not pure white, but I want to be careful. And I'm probably not going to do this whole drawing here for you, but it's kind of hard that I've got the lights off here, but Johnny Depp is kind of a wiry guy, and this kind of technique kind of, I think, will go along with his personality. So the more random you can be, the better. So it's not just little tiny, it's not scribbles like this. It's not just little circles, because it's going to be really stale if you draw that. So it's going to get loose. You're going to kind of break through the plane a little bit, and it's going to look really dorky for a little bit. But it'll come together reasonably quickly. Try not to make any straight lines. Now, so I've got some value here to work with. And it looks like just a mess and like this guy's teaching me anything. But then I can kind of come in here and I can start to refine. So I'll get a little darker in his, and I'm going to work this kind of all at the same time. I'm not going to finish one area. I may finish one area today because I may not get the whole thing done. So he's got this swoosh. Here. So in this, my experience when we've done this is that people finish too quickly. And they don't go dark enough. They don't get that full range of value. So they say, well, the hair is dark enough, but the hair is really almost purely black. So this looseness here, big circles, small circles or squiggles, really kind of makes it more alive and more dynamic. If you get a little too OCD and you make them all the same size, then it looks stale. But obviously you're going to get smaller in detailed areas, like his eyebrows. So you're going to use, regardless of whether you do an animal or a person, you're still going to use what we had learned about value. And he's got some pretty dark right in here. Eyeshadow just kind of comes in. And believe it or not, you can kind of press lighter with an ink pen. Now, I think a ballpoint pen is nice. You got to be careful with gel pens because gel pens stay wet, and then you can get that on your hand here. I'm not going to keep you too long here, but if it works better for your project, if you want to, use a different colored pen, a green pen or red pen or whatever, feel free to do that. Make his lips a little darker. It's kind of fun how fast you can get something to look reasonably decent. He's got some shadow in his eyes here. The white part of his eyes shadowed. Got a little crease here. Hopefully not boring you here. Be done in a second. Some sideburns. Earrings. So we're kind of looking for the average. So even though I've got some outliers here, still looking for what the average value is. Necklace. It really is almost this fast. So you're probably not going to be able to do it quite that fast, but it's still pretty quick. I think the main thing you're going to want to do is get a good sketch down. So you have a plan of where you're going to go with it. I'd spend a lot more time nailing it down. But see, I have a pretty good range of value. I could darken this up after I get done with you here. Darkening this, getting a little closer to pure black. And I have pure white right here. That's what's going to make this interesting, is if you have that contrast. If it's all just in this, if you do all this whole thing in right here and this, using this value of saying that's dark and that's white, then it's going to be kind of boring. So just kind of like life, you know, you have a whole variety of people that makes life a lot more interesting, because you have those extremes sometimes. Sometimes the extremes are not good, but most of the time it makes it more interesting if everybody's exactly the same. If we have school uniforms, it's going to be boring. It's more interesting when you've got different things. Okay.